Hello, everyone. We had so much fun at our last game. I think it's usually true that we always have a lot of fun, but it was just extra edge of the seat, nail biting fun. Um, Driving, being chased through the streets of Pine Box, Texas, the sort of not in the middle of town, out in a little country road, and decided to not wait 2 weeks, but just go back to back weeks, just pick up where we left off. We're playing Savage Worlds. As the rule set, we're playing East Texas University is the setting, using Discord and OBS. My friend Amai continues to grace us with little bits of her artwork. Shep also, Nightsteed also provides us with sort of the back of the napkin sketches of things as they happen. Usually just adds that extra degree of levity to the game. So I'd like to thank the two of you. Savage Worlds, created by Shane Hensley and Clint Black. Thank you so much. We continue to just have a ball playing and running the various incarnations of Savage Worlds. There's a 50 Fathoms game, sort of like Pirates. East Texas University, of course. All sorts of other Savage World settings are available. I think there's a Flash Gordon setting that's out. So if you like the way the game seems to play and you want to learn it, I would wholeheartedly endorse the Savage Worlds Suede. Savage Worlds Adventure Deluxe Edition, maybe. And all sorts of downloads, PDF files, modules you can download and print or order, delivered right into your little hands. So thanks Shane, thanks Clint, Preston DeBose, Ed Wetterman. You are responsible mostly for the East Texas University setting, and we just continue to just have a blast, just a rollicking good time. Prater's Rejects, Duff, happy birthday soon. Your birthday is coming up soon. I'll probably not the first, but among the first to wish you a happy oncoming birthday. The Prater's Rejects channel, the presence of Duff's channel on Twitch, on YouTube, doing fundraising, doing fun one-shots, playing all sorts of different genres and settings and rule sets we play. Oh, he's run Aliens, fantasy role-play game, lots of Savage Worlds, a lot of 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, and all that good stuff. Corey, thanks an awful lot for starting this game. I usually say 2, but I'll probably have to start saying about 3 years ago. You inspired us enough with the few semesters that we played as students that we decided that there were still more good tales to tell. So I picked up the rule set, learned it, I guess. Still learning, without a doubt. But we decided to just continue our college degrees. And I've already mentioned Nightsteed and Amai for their artwork, so thank you very much. All right, where are we in the school year? We are in our sophomore year. I think we, depending on how your perspective, we're either right up against midterms or we just passed midterms, because with a little extra time, about 2 sessions ago, we jumped ahead just to make our rolls for our midterm exams. Looking at my directory that has our videos, it looks like we played session 11. So today makes an even dozen. I was only going to run one adventure, the Last Rites of the Black Guard, and we've just gotten so much good play, so much good role playing and action and adventure out of that. It's gone a little bit longer. It took a few turns because I have a very inventive, clever, and resourceful group. It went a little bit longer. We're probably into our 3rd, possibly 3.5 sessions into the Last Rites of the Black Guard. And as a dean, it's my prerogative, and I have a great deal of fun just weaving in other plots, hooks, subplots, little flashes of insight about what might be coming next. Also, of course, the midterms. I did that as well. With the Savage Worlds rule set, there is a whole chapter on the chase, running chase scenes. So I sort of explored that and ran the chase scenes last game through the back roads of Pine Box, Texas, just to see how they play. I had seen some YouTube videos and other sources where the rules are described, but I'd yet to see a good play out. How are these rules? How do they appear? How do they play actually in game, rather than just rote repetition of the different actions you can take, different maneuvers, etc., etc. So I'm hoping anyone that wants to run a Suede chase just finds the last video, our 11th session, to be helpful in some small manner, in small way, shape, or form. So when last we played, we had Sophia riding her street motorcycle with Shep on the back. We had Amai on her little Vespa, driving along. They managed to zig and zag and evade Detective Hector Martin, who was chasing the group in his late model sports car, a blue Monte Carlo. They did manage, after several rounds of being chased and being intimidated, to find a walking path, a hiking path that crossed the road. And it was blocked off so that only hikers and not vehicles could go down this, if you want to call it sort of a side street. It's paved. But there were these thick pipes painted bright yellow, the kind that are filled with cement to just give them that extra bit of stability, and that are implanted into the entrance to this walking path in such a manner that for parks and recreation, or taking a truck back to empty trash cans along the hiking path, they can be lifted out in order to make way for a vehicle. But that was not the case on this evening. It had just rained and just had a severe lightning storm, and the group did manage, by a hair's breadth, to escape. And now they are driving down this walking path. The high beams and the flashing blue strobe, the police strobe of Hector Martin, vanishing in their rear views as they continue straight down. So let's see, what are we going to do? I think we're going to start off by what we usually do is drawing a curse card for Shep, who has the cursed hindrance. Always a good way to get started. Just so much fun.
Delightful curses.
Oh, I drew a 6 of spades. A 6 of spades, a 6. Okay. It was pretty, like I said, a hair breadth escape. Sweat coursing down your bodies in little rivulets. The helmets, obscuring your line of sight a little bit as you were driving or riding these bikes. Your heart's palpitating, your body temperature rising, sweating,
So excited,
shaking from anticipation, and the endorphins and the adrenaline coursing through your veins. Shep, for you, that is manifested in the hero has bad breath or body odor. I call it body odor. It's going to result in a -1 charisma to your checks this session. Do remind me of that.
I will
Yeah.
if I ever have a charisma check.
Okay.
Shep is not the most charismatic person to begin with.
Well, it depends who you ask, I'd imagine. It certainly depends who you ask. So Sophia, you gear down. There's no need to ride at a breakneck pace down this walking path, just in case there's somebody hiking it, walking the dog or something. Here, in the wee hours, there's probably a sign posted that says the walking path is open and available to use. Probably dawn to dusk, but certainly somebody could be taking advantage for like a late night jog or a walk, just in case. They like to do that when there aren't other people riding their bikes or walking their dogs. Probably some horseback riders down this walking path occasionally. And the sign did indicate it ended at Lost Pond in Crenshaw's Woods. So, Sophia, you gear down that street bike, and now that you're going along at a slower pace, you smell something horrible. Smells like tomato soup that's gone bad. Of course, I hate tomato soup. I hate most tomatoes and most of their incarnations. So I think they always smell bad. But
Awful.
just something rank, makes you wrinkle your nose. Maybe even pull up that little your chin strap. You probably have like a little air filter. Probably pull that like a stormtrooper, over your nose. Maybe there's some skunks in the area burrowing, and maybe somebody got sprayed. Some poor doggo got sprayed walking through here today, and the smell just, I don't know, just kind of lingers in the atmosphere. So I've talked enough. Take a bite of bagel, chomp on it rudely while I'm running the game. It's just about dinner time here in Colorado. Let's talk about our advances from last game. I know, Sophia, you got rid of a hindrance. You were no longer deathly afraid of trees, which is unfortunate. Because as a dean, it's just immensely fun to play that hindrance. Most of the phobia and quirk hindrances are just immensely fun to play. No longer have that hindrance. Ava, I think you bumped your spirit up from a 6 to a D8. You've got spirit. Yes, you do. And I believe, Shep, you took the aura reader edge, one that's on that sort of feat tree that starts at psychic sensitivity or psychically sensitive, whatever the true name of that feat it does open up a goodly number of feats that have that as a requisite, a prerequisite. So you are now an aura reader. You can pick up all sorts of interesting information about people if you have a chance to study them, if they're close enough, and if you make the all-important die roll to get that. So your advances, I gave them a little bit ahead of their actual exams. Doesn't make sense that you take the exam and boom, suddenly you're better at something. It's a gradual increase as you study and your skills tend to get practiced. So certainly it's my prerogative to release those little extra fun benefits a little bit earlier. Let me reset some bennies here. Shep, I think you got lucky 7, did you not? 1 extra benny per session. Gotta love that. And don't let me.
I lived it last week. Yeah, definitely.
Don't let me forget it. Shep, I'm going to open up your sheet. Roll you up an extra benny.
Thank you.
Sophia, I see you have 4. Ava has 3. And I have too many. I'm going to reduce my count down to 3 just to level the playing field. I often complain a little bit about Fantasy Grounds, about how it's really hard to manage if you've got 2 or 3 character sheets up. You've got a map that you're trying to run, and it's tied to the combat tracker, which you're stepping through and dealing out cards for initiative. And then you probably, I don't know, have an encounter dialogue up from which you're dragging and dropping various, ghosts and geists onto the combat tracker. You might have to open up one of the player characters' character sheets in order to inspect their skill level at something, or in some manner use their character sheet. It gets hard. It gets hard to manage all these dialogues. And I knew this existed, but I never really played along with it. You probably can't see it in the OBS dialogue, but there is almost like a row of a spreadsheet a bunch of like rectangular cells at the bottom, if you can imagine. And you can actually drag dialogues, maps, things like that, images, down into these cells where they're available for you to bring up really quickly. So it's really cool. I do believe that there are tens of these cells because I think you have 12 across. If you hold down the Alt key, it gives you another 12. Hold down the Control key, it gives you another 12. There's another gesture. Maybe it's Control Alt or something, gives you another 12. So you can store, what, by my math, almost 50 dialogues, maps, images, notes, and bring them up pretty quickly. So, credit where it's due. I think that's pretty cool. It's a good way to keep things up that you may need, but you don't want them taking up too much screen, that precious screen real estate, too soon. So, all right, so enough Dean blabbing. Sophia, Ava, as the drivers of these bikes, the Vespa and the street bike, Shep as a somewhat pungent passenger. What is it you would like to do?
Well, I remember I was leading the way. So I'm gonna continue heading over to where Shep and Sophia mentioned the storage facilities were, because I think it was Shep that was the one who pointed out where the particular storage place we were heading to was. So we're gonna keep trying to follow that route as long as being in the park hasn't thrown us off at all.
As long as you're on this walking path, tooling along at probably 15, maybe 20 miles an hour. Your hope is somebody's out walking their doggo has one of those little blinking lights on the dog's collar, and somebody jogging may have some of that reflective tape that you either attach or is just part of the fabric of their jogging, suit or shorts. Some of the running shoes have little reflectors on the back of like where the Achilles tendon is. It's okay. Okay, Ava, you slow down just enough to make eye contact with Sophia and Shep. Something smells really bad. It smells like somebody must have hit a skunk or something through here. Excited one of those rodents that has that scent gland. Pew. Man. Makes you wonder, maybe it was not a skunk. Maybe some people had like a picnic down here and only ate half the food and threw the rest of their food where it could sort of rot and stink in one of the trash cans, one of the big metal barrels that are spaced out, because there are occasionally picnic tables, places to sit and rest. But, whew, man, something's just foul.
Well, we must have run over something on the way over here.
Whew. You would think.
I hope not. I didn't notice.
Me neither. But I mean, you don't pay much attention to things when you're being chased by someone in a car.
Yeah. Of course, you're sure Sophia smelled it, because it looks like she's pulled up like a filter to put over her nose and mouth.
Oh, gosh. That's pretty bad. But
I think I'm just
gonna go and I'm gonna probably go take the lead, friends.
All right. Yeah, it doesn't really matter who's out in front, as long as you're riding this walking path. There's really only two ways to go: back where you were, or straight ahead. Although occasionally it does fork off, and if you slow down, there are signs pointing to the pond, to the lost pond, and the walking track, the path. And I do imagine for the hikers and walkers, about every 0.2 or 0.1 miles, there's like a little little thick square stake driven in the ground, one of those ones that's shaped a little like the Washington Monument, comes to a four-sided point at the top, and etched into it and painted is probably some indicator as to how far these hikes are, so you can gauge, what the distance is to the pond, for example. What's the distance to the creek, and all that good stuff. So I'm going to scroll down. I'd like to just pop up a map of Pine Box, Texas. I know, got all kinds of maps. Then when you're actually running the game, you're like, oh, I need that map. You scroll through and you're like, where was it? What did I call it? Did I preface it with map, or was it the name of what it is, or whatnot? So there's Pine Box. Here's ETU up top. There's Pine Box proper down to the south. You scroll down and make sure OBS picks up this map. I'll move it up to the top a little bit here. Continue scrolling. Oh, It's a Lock is actually on here. Oh, I didn't know that. That's rather nice. Looks like it's number 6. I knew where I intended to put it. Let's see how close I am. Not even remotely close. Not even remotely close. So this walking path goes by. Oh, let's take advantage of some of these pointers here. So ETU is, of course, up that way. It's scrolled off the map. The Lost Woods, and of course Crenshaw's Pond. So we're say you were riding along. You're riding probably along this road here. So now you're sort of like on a walking path. It's down this way. And you are heading towards downtown Pine Box, probably by way of the highway, eventually out here that takes you down to the downtown area, and of course Golan County Memorial Hospital is down this way. Your friend Erica spends a lot of her time down there. This is just to sort of give you just a thumbnail sketch, kind of a bird's eye, eagle eye view of the sort of the path that you're taking. You'll probably pop back out onto the road somewhere around there.
Okay.
A little bit south and west of that number 2. And from there you'll get on the road and head down into town to the Lock It Up. Since I did say that there were 2 such garages, I'm going to say the other set of storage units is down this way. Depending on the map, down that way is an area where the train tracks jut off. Perhaps these are the tracks right here. And there's a place where you would maybe operate a small quarry. There's a place where you can buy crushed stone, a place where you can buy, flagstone and pavers. Probably a lumber yard down here where you can buy just wood for your various home building projects. There's an old depot and probably places where oil and gas are stored until they can be distributed out, say, to the local gas stations or whatnot. So yeah, the other set of storage units are down that way. And of course, the Hidalgo sort of tractor parts store is down there as well, where you would go to get baling wire and small engine repair tools and items like that. larger containers of oil, larger than a pint, or however big a can of oil is, for some big machinery, tractors, threshers, and stuff like that. Something that may need a weight of motor oil different than the usual ubiquitous 10W30, 10W40, stuff like that. So yeah, each of the drivers can make a driving roll. I'm basically just looking for a critical failure, hoping that you don't have one.
Drive and roll. Yay.
Get those good rolls out of the way. I like it. Would you like to say the quickest, most direct route, which would take you right down through the downtown of Pine Box, Texas, past the local law offices, the courthouse, the police station, the sheriff's office, the office of records, etc.? Or would you like to continue past downtown and then take that main route? I think it's called like 285 or something like that, and sort of go across, down, and then go in a short distance to get to that number 6.
I mean, considering we were just chased by someone who works for the police, I don't know how corrupt he is, but maybe let's not go by the police station, friends.
Okay.
I agree.
Very good.
Yeah, so we'll take the scenic route.
Certainly nothing wrong with that at all. Some of the places that you could have gone by but chosen not to. Yeah, the courthouse, the Pine Box City Call, CALL. I think that might be jail, but spelled wrong on the key. I think police department, sheriff's department, and the Memorial Hospital again is down to the southwest.
Oh, maybe they meant City Hall.
Possibly.
That's funny.
Yeah, I never noticed that before, but that's all right. Yeah, call. Very good.
We get it. We get it.
Speaking of hospital, how you feeling there, Sophia?
Looks like she's having a hard time breathing. Her eyes are watering.
It's
She's
not great.
Not great. You
No,
know, you are
not
hurt.
great. I've been having a bad day.
yes.
Tell me about it. You scared that skunk back there at the beginning of the trail.
Man,
Luckily, I think it just got the back of my shirt.
you scared
Oh,
the musk out of it.
It kept it from getting on you.
I appreciate that.
Whew. Maybe
So
I ought to.
much.
Yeah.
You're thinking, okay, the
Should
last
we go
time I
to
was
the
in
doctor?
Chartone's discount supermarket. What was the biggest tomato juice container that they sold?
Oh,
Was like a
those
half
massive
gallon.
cans.
Yeah, the big what do they call them, industrial size, or like a gallon.
It's like a paint can, but it's tomato juice.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen those around before, and I'm just like, man, that is a lot of tomato juice for just
More than anyone would need.
Yeah, well,
that'll last with a whole full family.
well, it depends if you're making Bloody Marys, I guess, and you're having the crew over for brunch.
But
Yeah.
true that.
Could probably go through quite a bit of it. So okay, I've heard. Let's go around about and come in sort of along the side to get to the storage units. Or I also
So,
heard about a trip to the hospital, maybe. So what would you all
so
like
if
to
we
do?
were to go to the hospital, let me see. I can draw on this, right? Yeah, I can. We can go this way, maybe.
I'm just wondering. I mean, because I remember Sophia got hurt back at the other place.
Yeah. But then what is
Got
that
hurt a
number
lot
one?
everywhere.
Sure did.
Oh, we're passing a motel. if we take this road that I scribbled on.
Mm-hmm.
Well then.
That looks good.
I mean, if we take the road that is outside of downtown, past the motel, and go straight to the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
we could probably get some meds for you that's straight from the hospital itself.
Yeah.
Instead of having to go into town and then go to like a little Walgreens or something.
Okay. Drive up to the emergency room entrance of the Golan County Medical Facility, Golan County Hospital.
Yes.
The double doors that are bright, clean glass, whoosh open. Double doors to allow entrance of wheelchairs or someone perhaps on a gurney from an ambulance. And yeah, there's a night receptionist sitting there. Looks like a harried, overworked, middle-aged woman, and also a pot-bellied security guard is sipping on a cup of coffee and sort of leaning up against the not the desk, the counter, sort of making small talk, and he eyes you warily as you walk in.
Oh, I'm staying outside.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go inside with Sophia.
Yeah.
And hopefully the counter is not taller than I am, and I will ask if just wave my arms up.
I'd say it probably is, but there's a place where it cuts down so that the person at the desk can be seated and talk to you, and there's probably like some sort of plexiglass shielding separating you two. Well, hey there, dear. What seems to be the problem?
I need help.
We'll say her name is Candy. She's got it on a
Erica maybe knows her.
yeah, probably has it on a little pin, little badge pin. You don't feel well? Well, you don't look too well either, dear. You all right? What can we do for you? Why don't you take a seat? I'll come out and bring some papers for you. You feeling lightheaded, dizzy? Are you going to be able to make it all right? Should I bring you a wheelchair?
Yes
All
to
right.
all three.
All right. Well,
Yes, to all three.
the security guard. We'll say his name's Hank. Candy asks Hank if he can help, and he's already, before she even spoke to him, he's already taken a couple strides off to the side, where they have a couple of those wheelchairs that fold vertically, and then you can just like hit a clasp and open it up, and it makes like a little hammock seat. He sets it up and comes up behind you and says, all right, carefully step back and have a seat. And he flips down the little, not foot pedals, but the little foot rests, and he wheels you over to the I want to call it the indoctrination area, but it's not for indoctrination, it's for reception area. A couple tables with some outdated magazines stacked up, and some ugly lamps. Looks like everything could stand to be wiped down a little bit. And Candy comes over with a clipboard and a stack of papers on it, and pen. Hands it to you and says, "You okay to fill all these out? Is there somebody we need to call? Maybe your guardian, your parents?"
Oh, they're in another state. I'm here for school.
Oh, you got
I think I can write this, and my friend here can help me.
from the
if I need it.
university. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's right, nice. We have a couple university students come down here and do the volunteer, the pre-med work. We sure do.
I think one of our friends does work here. Is Erica on duty tonight?
Erica? The rodeo queen?
Erica. Yeah, she wears a cowboy hat all the time, and she wears boots a lot, and she probably wears chaps, but I don't know if she does that here.
She probably has them on.
Last time I saw her, she was dressed up as like a clown for one of the children's parties. Stopped by with a dark skinned fellow with a big dog,
Ooh,
a
that's
a
weird.
helper dog. Had a blast that day. The only clown I ever seen wearing chaps. So like I guess it was a rodeo clown. I don't know. So let's see, what
That
would be the
sounds just like
odds?
her.
I would say that the odds are about 38% that Erica is on duty tonight.
Oh, that's low, but it's not 0.
Because it's after midnight, but it is the weekend. So let me roll me some dice here, and it comes up 25. Well, sure shooting. She's here, sweetheart. You want me to call her
Yes.
up? I don't know.
Yes, please.
I don't know what she's doing, but sure, I'll put a call for her.
Yes, please.
And
I
Hank,
appreciate
Hank
the support
says,
of a friend.
Hank says, y'all mean that skinny blonde gal? Yeah, I think she's back stocking one of the pharmaceutical closets. He's like, I'll go get her. He's like, oh no, I'll just call. And she hits one of the buttons on a phone, and she's talking to somebody. And she's like, all right, now you just sit pretty, dear. Your friend will be right out. Pretty lucky that she's working tonight.
Yay.
I feel
Yeah, I
very
mean,
lucky.
you know, if there's 3 places that you're likely to find Erica, it's in class or studying, volunteering at the hospital, or filling out a police report for, I don't know, an accident, speeding tickets, parking tickets, assault with a deadly weapon. It's happened, sadly. So
Like,
let's.
Erica, we told you not to bring the knife to class.
I know y'all, but how am I going to spread my peanut butter?
Right,
cut her apples, spread some peanut butter, right? Oh, goodness. That's funny.
Erica strides out. This isn't how she's dressed. She's dressed in what looks to be an odd combination of scrubs and a candy striper outfit. And she's got like plastic over her soft sneakers. And it's taken her a while to adapt to not working in chaps. Such are not permitted because they smell a little horsey, a little like horse manure. Well, hey gals, she comes over and she gives each of you a hug. What's the matter with you, Sophie? What you get into?
Far too much. And I will quietly explain what we got into.
We need a little bit of first aid.
Candy, I'm gonna walk my friends back into one of the little enclosures there, and I'm gonna, I guess, Dr. Mars is still on duty. I'm gonna have him come back and take a look at my friend. She looks at the paperwork. How much of this stack of about 11 sheets of paper do you think that you filled out so far?
Let's find out. I'm going to say I got through half of one.
Okay.
That ADHD, man.
Half of one sheet of paper.
She's like, Candy, is it okay if we take her paperwork back and work on it while she's laying back and resting? And she's like, oh yeah, that'll be fine, dear. Make sure Dr. Mars follows up. She goes, I know you seem to be able to vouch for this nice young woman. I sure can. In fact, she's my roommate. We go to university together. And Candy's like, is that a fact? Just seems to be the way that she responds, with kind of like, instead of saying, okay, I see. Is that a fact? So you wheel back to one of the areas that is probably 4 beds facing 4 beds. And by beds, I mean those raised wheeled gurneys where you can strap somebody in, give them an IV, take their vitals, hook them up to, this machine or that machine, take their temperature and all that good stuff. And each one of these 8 beds is surrounded by one of those sort of U-shaped, like curtain rods that you could just pull these curtains aside for around for privacy. And she's like, let me take a look at that. Dr. Mars will be right there. And she's looking at it and she's like, is this Shep's handiwork?
No, I don't think so. I think it's more of a motorcycle problem.
She looks at the that long, angry. She unwound some of the bandages and just exposes that angry pair of parallel gashes across your midsection, right below the rib cage. And she's like, "Motorcycle did this? What'd you take a spill?"
I forgot. That's not from the.
That was the zombie.
That was the zombie. Never mind.
Mhm.
That was a creepy undead thing in a basement, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I burned him good.
That's the only way to burn a zombie, is to burn it good. Y'all
Oh, yeah,
didn't
it's
have
gotta come back up.
Good.
Did y'all have your cold iron with you?
Yeah.
Sophia, where's the firearm that you took off of the now deceased Ahuva Shapiro?
It should still be in my back pocket, my pants. I kind of left it there, and Shep never took it, so it would still be there.
I'll give Erica a chance to.
Or is she gonna snatch it off me?
Well, I'm gonna give her a note. I'm gonna give her a notice roll.
She's like, "Ooh, look at that, a new gun." That's so funny. Oh my god.
It's because you
Oh,
didn't
no.
realize it was in your pocket until you laid back on this gurney. Probably Erica did. What did they do on the examination tables? They have those rolls of white paper, and you tear off,
Yeah.
and then you pull it down and secure it at the bottom, so everybody's that sits there is sitting on a clean sheet of paper. And you realize that when you sat down, and damn, that's uncomfortable to sit on a revolver. It's in your back
I
pocket.
imagine.
And Erica's like,
Funny.
"Well, darling, I didn't know you was packing."
It's oh, I just found this lying around.
I know, me too, right? And she winks at you.
Just happened to pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, but we have it.
Hopefully, I won't need to use it.
And she says, I'm
Better you than me.
I say, I was surprised. Wow. She's like, oh, that's right. I just wheeled you straight back here. I didn't take you through the metal detector. Good thing.
Please don't.
Good thing.
Please don't.
She's like, what else you carrying? How about you, little one?
That's just a slingshot. And she like bring out the slingshot that she made back home.
All right. It's a large wrought iron square frame. Wrought iron with
And it's a pepper spray and a water gun.
She's like, well, darling, why don't you hand me that revolver and make sure that the safety's on, if you please. I'll make sure it doesn't set off any alarms and whatnot. And she pulls out. There's probably in my mind's eye, I am seeing some sort of like coat hook or a place where you can hang your clothes, like a coat or something. And there's also a box or a bag of those flat bags that open up and they have a plastic handle. And when you shut the handles, they snap together, making kind of not a shopping bag, but a square plastic bag. And she takes probably your sweatshirt or something like that and rolls that gun up real carefully. Probably rolls it up, grabs a white cloth blanket that it would use to keep you warm if you were chilled. wraps it up real good, and then sticks it in the shirt or the jacket or the sweatshirt and sticks it in that bag and hangs it up.
I'm gonna get that back, right?
Well, it ain't going nowhere. I don't think I'm carrying it around the hospital.
That's dangerous, Sophia. let's fix you up, and then we can go back to Shep and finish what we started here.
Yeah.
And while she was doing this, she has the safety on, pops open the chamber, empties out the cartridges, and there are. It's a.
I think it was shot twice.
Yeah, we'll say it had like a magazine, a 10 round magazine to this. I think it was a Glock. I think.
If it was on a military personnel, more than likely.
That sounds about right.
Poor Hoover. It was a Sig Sauer. We'll say it had a 10 round magazine. She pops out the magazine and she puts it inside the inner pocket of the sweatshirt or jacket just to separate them so you don't end up sort of shooting yourself by mistake. And she's like, "Darling, you were carrying that in your back pocket with the safety off. You know how lucky you are you didn't shoot yourself in the ass?"
Oh God damn it! No, that's the dumbest thing I've ever done.
You don't want to hurt your butt.
No,
your butt, it sucks.
She's
I
like,
don't recommend it.
If you shot yourself in the ass while you were riding that bike of yours, you could have ignited the gas. And a doctor walks in. "Hello."
Oh my gosh.
hello.
Hi, Erica. "Hey, I'm Dr. Mars. You are." And he looks down. He's like, "At least you've written your name down on the very top sheet." "Oh, Sophia. Okay. Sophia, what brings you? Oh, my goodness gracious! What happened here?" And
Motorcycle accident.
he's like, I should say so. And the fact that your shirt probably has it's blood stained and it's got some scratches across it as well. I should say so. And she looks back and says, "Eric, could you take a look at this?" And they're comparing notes, and he's like, "You see the vertical, how she's managed not only to sever the epidermal layer, but also that layer of tough muscle, just the abdominal muscle below, and probably went through all the way to the organs beneath." And he's like, "But no, I think you've been lucky here, and it looks like it's been cared for by someone." He's like, "Eric, is this your handiwork?" And she's like, "No, Dr. Mars, not me. I just they just got here. That was done someplace else. I imagine one of our roommates must have done it. Ain't that right, Sophie?"
Oh yeah, we were trying to keep me in one piece. That make sure I got here okay.
Mm-hmm. And of course your name is Sophia, but Erica has taken to call you Sophie because she had a horse named Sophie when she was a little girl, and it reminds her of this horse whenever she talks to you, and that's why she continues to call you Sophie. And you've probably gently tried to remind her that your name is Sophia and you prefer Sophia, but old habits die hard, right? So
Yeah.
okay, yeah, he fixes you up. They inject you with probably something to help not sterilize, not antiseptic. Probably numbs you with some local anesthesia and also starts you on an IV and puts some antibiotics into your system to make sure that you don't get an infection. He's cleaning up the area, and he's like, "Yeah, whatever it was, looked like it. I don't know, had a little rust or something. Got you. Would you hit a barn?" He's just making small talk while he's cleaning you up.
Oh, I had to make like a real sudden stop to avoid someone else, and it just kind of threw me off the bike. I don't know what I hit.
I see. Well, guess you were lucky you didn't fall onto an old rusty you know, garden hoe or a piece of threshing blade or something. You find that stuff rusting on the side of the road. It ain't uncommon. And yeah, he cleans you up and he says, all right, takes all your vitals and um, says, so in a day or two, give us a call if that if either one of those cuts starts to to swell up, get red, oozy, pussy. And Erica's like, I'll make sure I check on her, and we'll make sure she's healing up right, and gives you a prescription for some oral antibiotics, and says, all right, well, I guess fix yourself up, and you're free to go. You can scoot right out to the to Candy, and she'll out process you. And he's like, Erica, you want to hang? You want to hang with the gals until you can see her safely out the sliding glass doors, like always. Hospital rules and insurance and indemnity and all that. And she's like, sure thing, doctor. Dr. Mars speaks with a bit of an accent. It looks like he's possibly French or Italian, possibly from that region where the two kind of blend together. But he certainly has like a European air and manner about him. Perhaps in that fashion, has his hair slicked down, with oil or some sort of hair tonic to keep it in place. Looks a little bit oily, a little pencil thin mustachio. Definitely has a European flair, but he seems pretty friendly, pretty nice, and good at what he does. And yeah, he leaves. Well, all right. So where to from here? Erica asks.
We left Shep outside. He was waiting for us to come back. I think he's keeping watch of our bikes. But also, I think he got hit with a skunk because he smelled bad.
It's terrible.
Skunk. Hey, you. I guess you ain't getting no kisses tonight, Ava. She winks at Sophia.
What? Excuse me.
And Erica, you realize that you were around a boy, and you didn't get all. You realize now that you didn't get all clammy and sweaty, and your phobia, your just insane fear of boys didn't go off, and your only explanation is you were so worried about your friend, and this guy is, after all, a professional, that maybe you were distracted enough that the fact that he was a man didn't bother you, or perhaps you're not.
I was gonna say she was just vigorously nodding at everything that was happening. She didn't talk to anybody.
I wonder, maybe you're not afraid of European, the continental type of man. I don't know. I have to explore that at a later date. But to make a short story even shorter, you get into the wheelchair. Erica wheels you out. You have that firearm in a plastic bag wrapped up in a sort of a cotton half blanket and wrapped up in a shirt or a sweatshirt or a jacket. It's been the bullets have been removed. The magazine's been popped, and it's in a different pocket. Erica wheels you out, and she's like, Candy's like, well, all right there, darling. Takes a look and says, you got that prescription, right? You're gonna go get that filled tonight. You're gonna wait till tomorrow.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna get it tonight.
Well, all right. Do you want us to fill it at the pharmacy here? We can do that.
Oh, yes.
I think the pharmacies are closed except that little one up on the other corner of town. Erica says, I'll take care of that. And she looks at it and hustles off. I was just there stocking anyway.
Thank you, Erica.
I aim to please. I don't always pull the. I always seem to get the short straw when it comes to choosing shifts. But it's nice and quiet here, graveyard shift. But we're not supposed to call it that around here. We try not to use that, that phraseology. And yeah, she hustles off to get you your prescription. And she's like, all right, dearie. Well, is this going to be cash, check, or charge?
Your insurance policy.
Right away, Sophia's like, do I have Mir's credit card?
Scavenging pretty well for that credit card, I see.
I didn't want to go for his credit card. I don't know. Do they take my insurance? I'm still under my family's plan, I think.
Does Texas take
Oh,
it?
sure enough. She takes this and looks at the first or second page, and she's like, well, all right. Well, since you've already been seen, and I see the release here, the release note from Dr. Mars, then sure, darling. If you want to pass me that card and 2 forms of ID. Your college ID will do that'll do nicely for one of them.
Sure.
So funny.
Pass over my state ID, college ID, and insurance card.
So I'm gonna say on a D6, on a roll of a 1, 2, or 3, Dr. Mars put in just a couple of stitches to keep that thing closed. Perhaps there's 2 gouges, and one of them was much deeper and much angrier than the other. So I'm going to roll a D6 real quick. If it aces, we'll know it was a 6, and that's not a 1, 2, or 3. It's a 1. You've got again. I'm going to say 2 plus a D6 stitches.
Oh dear.
Is it a lot of stitches?
You got like 16 stitches.
Holy hell!
Yeah, no.
Those aren't fun.
I didn't mean for that to explode. So we'll say you've got a strip of 8 tiny stitches holding yourself together. He probably put 4 on the inside, 4 on the outside, just to where right in the middle where it gapes open. Looks to be ready to start bleeding again anytime.
Didn't even notice him with the needle. Like, when did that happen?
Oh. Having Erica there just sort of relaxed you. She doesn't have a bad sort of bedside manner.
She's good at her job.
Okay, she Candy types in your insurance information, says, all right, and this is the address I have. Is there someplace else I'd like to send it? Would I send it to you, or should I send it to your family? It'd probably be a small copay. I'd say $10 or $15. It depends upon your insurance policy. Of course, you just want me to send that to your parents, sweetie?
Yeah, just send it to them.
Yeah.
Of course, you should probably call them before they get there. I know.
I'm not dead.
Yeah.
It's fine. We're fine. It's all fine.
And of course, there's some. All right. Well, here's the doctor wanted you to have this sheet of release instructions. It says to not to lift anything over 8 to 10 pounds for 10 days to 2 weeks, and to limit your no sports, no competitions. You've got limited mobility. None of those step aerobics or whatever it is you young people do these days, and just be careful. And she says, yeah. She looks and she's like, yeah, I see the other information here. If you see any swelling, any oozing, any bleeding, anything like that, it starts to remain more painful to the touch than you think it should. It should be knitting together pretty good. You seem young and healthy. She's like, just give us a call. Stop on by. Make sure we fix you right back up, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's no problem at all. And she's like, Erica's back, gives you the prescription. She's like, Erica, you want to wheel this young lady out? She's like, sure thing, Candy. You just keep working. You don't need to bother yourself here. She was going to say something like, you just keep playing your Candy Crush. But I realize her name is Candy. She's like, I'm sure you're hot to get back to your game of Tetris there behind the console, as she winks at Candy, and Candy winks back at her.
Playing all that solitaire.
Yeah. So yeah, she'll wheel you out, and
Cool. Shep over there waiting by the bikes.
yeah, yeah. You probably smell him before you see him.
Can I ask before she wanders off? Can I ask Erica if she has any kind of perfume on her?
Well, no, darling. We're not supposed to be wearing anything that makes us.
Ah,
And we're not supposed to put any stank on because there are some patients that may react adversely to people have odor issues.
oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like they have
Yeah.
sensitivity to colognes and hairsprays and um, skin creams and stuff like that. So, supposed to come here and limit all that stuff. I'm sorry.
Do you happen to have any kind of maybe disinfecting spray?
Maybe the holy water in my gun will work.
Oh, you know what? We're carrying water. You're right. Never mind.
You know that holy water. I mean, it's a little unorthodox, no pun intended, but it is rather scented and nice smelling.
Yes. Shep, come over here, please.
So I tell you what, for picking up on that misspelling on the map, Ava, I've already dumped a Benny into your bin. But for coming up with a pretty good use of holy water, Sophia, let me drop one into yours as well.
Let's see some holy water. Yeah, on a holy water bath.
Or
We're gonna baptize Shep today.
Shep, you just want to stand there and suffer the indignity of being doused with holy water
Sophia
here
is
in the
aiming
bright,
a super soaker at you.
yeah,
I
it's
can
almost
give
like a
you
shower.
back your jacket.
It's
I
like
mean,
a
if you were
Shep's just
sprayed with
realized.
the skunk.
Shep realizes that he's like borrowed Sophia's motorcycle jacket. He's wearing Erica's chaps because they told him they would be better to do that on the motorcycle. So he's like, he's giving everything back and putting it in their rooms, hiding it once he gets back home.
Oh my gosh. All of the junk.
So you're gonna let them spray you with holy water here, or are you gonna wait till you get home and try to wash off this stank?
He's pondering it. He's
Okay.
looking at them.
All right, we're gonna take our first break. We're gonna come back with the three of you standing under one of the bright lights in the parking lot at the Golan County Memorial Hospital.
Okay.
That's